I'm going to make a clear soup. Artichoke, potato, and mushroom soup. There are all the ingredients except for the chicken stock. Any kind of mushroom you like. Potato of your choice. A carrot. Artichoke hearts. Onion, leeks, and tomato. And we'll go about putting this together. First thing I'm going to do is into the chicken stock I'm going to place the bay leaves and take a close look at the fresh thyme, the amount that I have, because I'm not measuring this. I'm doing it the lazy way. I'm not going to pick the thyme off the stems and then chop them up. So what I'm going to do is we're going to simmer this for about 15 minutes. The flavor of everything will come out of the bay leaf and the thyme, and it saves me just the time it takes to chop up the thyme. Now, while the stock is still simmering with the thyme and bay leaf, we're going to sweat up the vegetables, and I'm using butter because for this item it just tastes better. So as you see, I diced up the mushrooms. I didn't slice them. I think they look better in the soup. And the leeks. Make sure after you only use the white part of the leek. The green tops, you can save that for making stock or the garbage. Carrots are nice and diced small because we're not pureeing this soup, which you could when it's done. You could puree it also. Nothing wrong with doing that way. I'm just looking for a clear one this time where I could see everything that's in there. So we're going to sweat that up, and then after a few minutes we'll add the potatoes, and I'll wait to add the tomato because I want to see pieces of tomato in there. I don't want them to be disintegrated later. I really put the tomato in there only for appearance. So we sweat this up. This will take a few minutes. Just put it on a moderate flame. Cook it. We don't have to season anything now because it's a soup. Not a large piece of meat that you must season first. So we'll sweat that up. That'll take a few minutes. I don't have to time it. I'll just shut it off. When you see that the vegetables are a little translucent, then we're ready to add the stock. And this is how I cut the artichokes and the artichoke heart into 8 pieces. They'll break apart just a little bit, and tomato, large pieces that also will somewhat cook in there, but not for long, because I want to see and have both retain their shapes. So this is sweating up nicely, as you see. We still have a few more minutes to go. Then I'll add the potatoes and the stock. And the potatoes are going to be diced small, the same size as the carrots and the leeks. Well, it's been about 5 minutes, and that's good. See how translucent, sweated up nice. You know what? I just got finished dicing the potato, and I don't have to wait to add the potatoes, so I'm just going to put it in now instead of having to put the potatoes in cold water to keep them from turning color. There we go. Now we're going to add the stock. I'm just going to drain this through a chinois with a thyme. And we're going to cover the vegetables with the rest of the stock. and we'll have a perfect pot of soup. Well, at this point, it won't take long because we sweated up the vegetables. They're just about cooked. So we'll wait for the potatoes to cook. When the potatoes are done, the soup is finished. Then we'll add the artichoke and the tomato at the very end, and we'll have a very heavy soup, not thickness wise, but vegetable wise. And when you're using vegetable stock, it's best to make your own. If you can't do that, I use the Collagen brand. Don't think you can use those little bouillon cubes or any of the dry chicken bases. The only one I would recommend, if you ever came across it, never find it in the supermarket or a specialty store, but in a restaurant supply place, the Miner's brand of any base is the best one that's made for the industry, bar none. There are many places that use the Miner's lobster base just to make lobster bisque. So if you know the item, you could tell when you're eating it that it was made from the base, but it's very good. I've always used it as just a little addition to using fresh lobster or crab in a soup. Add a teaspoon or such of the Miner's base to the item, and it just brings it up a little bit more. And that's only if you really can't afford doing a lobster bisque or a crab bisque or a crawfish bisque. The 100% correct way, and that would be never to use a base. Anyway, this should be done very soon. Well, the potatoes are done. Now I'm going to add the tomato and the artichoke. Do you think this pot was big enough? Very close. Just made it. I'll let that cook for another 3 to 4 minutes. I might add more artichoke to it, since it's artichoke is in the title of the soup, which I will. So we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. This has to simmer for about 10 minutes. Don't forget, you rinse the artichokes off from the can, but I don't, because I eat them straight out of the can and I love that flavor. But you should rinse them off first. Now the soup is finished, but there's one more thing that I do to almost all my clear soups. I want to give it a little body, just a little bit, and keep it clear. So we got, I'm not telling you to do this, I have 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water. And what this is going to do is, quite often when you make a large pot of soup, like we do at work, the vegetables sink to the bottom. So by doing this, everything stays more evenly distributed between in the soup. And I use very little. As you see, and that's all. It still looks the same, but now it has just a little bit of body to it. You know how they say minestrone, the spoon should stand up? Is that going to, well, it doesn't stand, but it's not a spoon, it's a ladle. But there's a lot in here. So let's put it in a soup plate and see what it looks like. If you want something that's light, not too spicy and heavy, that's what this came out to be. I could eat the entire pot in like one sitting. And this is a meal in itself. Tomatoes make it look nice, and everything else makes it taste good. And the tomatoes help in the flavor too. That's that. Now what do I do with it? I take it and I put it in 1-quart containers, put it in my freezer with all my other soups that I've made. And if you like having a soup, I take one out. Nothing wrong with freezing this. Hope you enjoy it.